Welcome to another Dead End Hip Hop review. Before we get started, make sure you go out and support BZ. Go check out his SoundCloud. Also go check out his YouTube page, BZ Got Beats. Also make sure you check out Mike Seatown's page. He has reviews, a lot of stuff that we don't cover here on Dead End Hip Hop. Also he does a vinyl collection, it's pretty dope, so definitely go check that out. His both B and Seatown's channels are growing, continuously growing. And also check out Dead End Sports on Tuesday night, 9 p.m. to 11 a.m. Also check out Stitcher Radio. We're on there, we're archived, and we'll also be on podcast pretty soon too, so we're coming to iTunes. But now going into the review, Ratking, So It Goes. Ratking is a new group out of New York. This is my first introduction to them, and I can honestly say I'm not too into this project, but it wasn't whack. There was a lot of things that I liked, but then there were just some questionable things I couldn't understand. The main thing, like on Snow Beach, like why is it so long? I didn't get it. The beat change. It just felt like a big hodgepodge of different stuff. Like it just didn't make sense to me. The track that like finally stood out to me was So It Goes, but then like midway through, it was kind of like, well, what is, like, okay, like you lost me. And then the tracks, like, they're long as hell too. So I was just like, there's just a lot of different stuff going on here. Overall, I do like the beats on this. I like their flows. I really couldn't tell who was who. This definitely moved into my rotation because I can listen to it, even though I don't necessarily get it, understand it, but it was cool. And I could definitely bump this in the whip, but I'm not loving it. I'm conflicted on it because they have talent. I don't think that they can't rap. They can definitely rap, but just as a cohesive project, they lost me quite a few times.
I like Ratking, So It Goes, man. You don't like a couple of the songs that I like Snow Beach. I love how it transitioned from that first part to the second part. I thought that was dope, and how they just, kind of rapping about, all the stuff that's going on in the neighborhood, man. I like the vocal stylings of Wiki, man, and how he moves in and out of flows, throughout this project. So It Goes, man. So It Goes was really like one of the first ones that I kind of picked up immediately that caught me. And that's the one that I played the most, I think, between that and Snow Beach. So yeah, I like this project. I like the beat selections, and
you like the length of the tracks? You didn't feel like that was?
I think I'm okay with the length of the tracks because of how they did it. Like Snow Beach, for instance, I like how it started out one way and then ended the other way. So I was cool with that. I think even on the last one, the last one was like 8 minutes, but I think one of those may be a bonus cut from. I think it may be a bonus cut because it kind of went out, so I think maybe a bonus record. I like Bug Fights. I thought that was cool. So Sick Stories. I like that one with King Cruel. I like this. I like the beats. Like I said, I like the way he flows over the songs, man, because it's not like there's one consistent flow over and over again. Like he switches it in and out from song to song, and throughout points on here, it kind of sounded like he has kind of like a Bone flow. I picked up some Bone Thugs and Harmonies, East 1999 stuff, and even musically with some of the darker tracks on here. Some of the darker tracks kind of remind me of some early late 90s 3 6 Mafia production-wise, some of the beats that they had. So yeah, man. All in all, man, I was really digging. So It Goes by Ratking, man. I fuss with it. Yeah.
You know what I gotta give him a lot of props to is in hip hop today, right? Where you got all of these people, New York, West Coast, everybody's starting to pop up and create their own lane. They don't sound like nothing I've heard. You know what I'm saying? Like I feel like production-wise, like when I started listening to it, I'm like, okay, this kind of sounds like UA a little bit. You know what I'm saying? But then when I dug, it was just like, okay, you guys sound completely different from anything I've heard coming out of New York, as of late. So I think I thought that I have to give them props there too.
Yeah, and they kind of in the intro they kind of wanted to set the stage for that, with the snippet they used, and I think that it's starting to become more and more common where you're finding more and more rappers trying to be different and do different stuff. You know, for me, the fact that they're trying to be different and do different stuff, but they pull it off.
Yeah.
You know, and this one compared to the other one sounds a little bit more cohesive and together. So yeah, I mess with it, but you know, you can try to be different and be whack. You know, and I don't think that they yeah, they're far from that for me. So yeah, man, I fuss with it.
This was only like maybe about 3 songs there that I really liked, which was Snow Beach was one of them. I like that jazzy sax, you know, the saxophone that they had in there. What else? The title track, of course. I think after the title track, So It Goes, I think it wasn't really this album was just too much. It was all over the place to me. I thought it was too much going on this album. And it was some songs on here where I couldn't even hear, you know, the MC more. I heard the track more, like the actual production louder than the MC. I'm like, what is this dude saying? I can't even get with the MC with Wiki or whoever. Wiki and what's the other MC in there? It's
Hat or Hawk or something like that.
It's like I couldn't. It was some of them tracks, and I think which one in particular it was. With Protein, it was like, I don't know. It's like I couldn't even pick up what they were saying on that one. I didn't. The Puerto Rican judo, I didn't like that. It was just a lot of tracks on here that I just wasn't really feeling because it was just so all over the place, and it was just and the Removia was cool. I thought the content on that, them talking about how the police always fuck with them using the Dipset.
Mm-hmm.
The Dipset
that was dope.
Yeah,
that
they
was
kind of
dope.
sampled that and Luke that made that they own that. I thought that was pretty cool. That was pretty much it though. So It Goes, Snow Beach, and Removia was like pretty much the highlight of this album for me. I didn't really, like I said, it was just it was all over the place to me. It was too crazy. Yeah, it was a lot going on. It was too much for me. I'm like, okay, I can't deal with 11, and it didn't even feel like 11 tracks. It felt like, you know, like 20 because their tracks were so long. But you know, I guess like Ken said, the way they transitioned it, I guess to make it feel like it's a somewhat of a shorter song will make you keep your attention. I guess, you know what I'm saying. So, but yeah, about 3 listens, man, I was like, okay, I had enough of this. I can't listen to this again. Like I'm done. So, but I give them props for being somewhat original. It's just that's not my cup of tea. Flatbush Zombies is different, but I like that. But this group right here, it's like I can't really get with this. It was just too all over the place, man. Like, yeah, not me.
What's funny about this album is I listened to this album more than probably the last 5 or 6 things we reviewed, only because I'm like, there's gotta be something I'm missing. Like, it was just like, people were telling me this was a noise rap album. No, first they were like, oh man, you gotta hear Ratking. It brings you back to them old Def Jux days. So I was like, okay, well, all right, cool, I'll get around to it. Then someone was like, oh no, it's noise rap. It's like Death Grips. It's like clipping. I think you're gonna like it. I was like, so it sounds like old school Def Jux and it sounds like noise rap. Alright, so I don't know what the fuck this is gonna sound like. When I put this on, I liked the first track, the asterisk track. I was like, oh, this is actually interesting. I really was not too into the MCs that much because I just thought, not to be rude, I just thought that their voices were just annoying. After that, it was just like, it's one of those albums where it has moments that I like it, and then it has a lot of moments where I'm just like, I don't know what the hell you guys are going for right now. I give them all the props in the world for being different. I appreciate that. I like that they're trying to go off the beaten path a little bit, but this did not connect with me. And that's why I kept listening to it. I was like, just like clipping, I was like, man, there's gotta be something. Like, I feel like I should like this, but I don't think it was whack. It didn't suck. I don't have any desire to listen to this again, When I first listened to it, just like FIFO, I thought it was one dude. I thought it was one rapper. I didn't know it was 3 rappers until 2 rappers until someone said something. I was like, oh, that's another guy? I couldn't even tell. I wasn't into their flows. I wasn't into their cadence. It just didn't do anything for me. I didn't like Snow Beach like you guys like. I wasn't big on So Sick Stories. But I'll tell you, the moment that I was done with this album was Puerto Rican Judo. That song was unlistenable. I could not take it. When it got to that track, the first time I was listening to this album, I turned it off. I was like, I'm fucking done. I can't do this anymore. This is pissing me off. I'm trying to listen to this on the way to work. No. And Wavy Spice, again, no disrespect. I don't know who the fuck she is, but nah, bruh. Nah, like that Nicki Minaj impression. Yeah, little stooky. Nah, man. I don't know what the hell's going on right now. But don't even know what else to say about this album.
Yeah.
It was just one of those albums where it's like I can take it or leave it.
Yeah.
It's not something that I would ever want to put on, but it's not something I'm gonna get angry because it's on. Unless it's Puerto Rican Judo, then it's just like, nah, you gotta turn that shit off. But all the other tracks, I like their content. I like how they're talking about New York City in a way that not a lot of rappers do anymore. They're actually talking about issues like police brutality, and I like how he's talking about his drug use and that type of thing. But sonically, no, I can't. This didn't do it for me. I'm missing the hype. I'm missing all of the, this is amazing. This is New York City resurrected. I don't see that. I don't see that. This to me just sounded like an average hip hop album that I just didn't really care for, which is fine. But the hype on top of this album is kind of what made me be like, well, what am I missing here? I'm confused. What am I missing?
That's what Twitter do to you sometimes. Man.
It wasn't just Twitter. It was
everybody.
It was everywhere.
No,
Ratking was, and what's funny, after people were talking about this album, I realized I was following them on Twitter. I don't even remember following them. Wow. This must have happened a while ago. Like somebody must have said, "Hey, go listen to Ratking," and I just found them on Twitter and followed them. But yeah, I mean, cool. People like it. That's great. Not my cup of tea at all.
Yeah, I don't get the hype. I don't subscribe to the hype personally myself, because like B said, that it will mess you up when you see people talk about it. I don't, the high praise that it's getting. I'm not going that far personally. I like the album. I like Wiki, and I like his voice, and I like what he does rap wise. With the different flows, that he implements over the beats themselves.
Yes, I thought they were from London because their voices are so fucked up. Their voice, not fucked up in like it didn't sound English.
Right? Yeah, they don't sound like they're from New York. They don't sound like they're from up top at all. And again, like Puerto Rican Judo, I, for the life of me, have tried to figure out why, what, where, and
the reason for them even
the reason for that song and putting it on there, and the placement of the song.
Right.
Because
smack dab in the middle of the album.
Yeah. So, but to the life of me, I laugh at it every time it comes on. I can't figure it out. There has to be a reason. But at least I think there's one. But because it's so different from the others, it don't fit in. It just kind of sticks out like a sore thumb.
It comes on right after what I think we consider our favorite tracks was "So It Goes," the title track.
That's the one with the 1 million trains, choose one. Was that song? Or am I thinking of a different one? 1 million trains to ride, choose one. I like that track. I think that's "So It Goes."
Yeah, that is. I think that is.
But that Puerto Rican Judo song just kind of ruined my enjoyment of anything before that, because it just didn't make. And that's the only song I thought was just whack.
Yeah.
The rest of the album was cool. It just wasn't for me.
Yeah.
That song in particular, I don't get it.
Neither do I. Dang, you don't like
Nope.
Snow Beach?
Nah, man, that shit was whack.
Wait, you don't like Snow Beach?
Yeah, I said.
Oh yeah, I forgot. I'm
After
sorry.
It was good.
Damn.
And So It Goes was good.
Yeah, So
Other
It
than
Goes
that,
is my favorite.
Yeah, Snow Goes.
nah. It was just this. You know what? It was almost like it was weird for weird's sake. It wasn't like, well, I'm not gonna tell you that you're wrong, but I'm saying I don't get like.
What's the angle?
Right. What is the angle here? Like, it just seems like they're just being weird. But I will say what was very cool, what I do appreciate about these guys, again, is that they're different. And I didn't hear one song about bitches or money or any of that shit. So I appreciate that. And maybe that's the angle they're coming at, where they say this reminds me of old school Def Jux or Raucous type stuff. Maybe that's what they're talking about, but sonically, I can't get behind this album. And that's really all it boils down to. Like I said, no disrespect to these guys, because they were not whack. They have style. I just don't particularly care for the style.
Sonically, to me, this bumps in the whip. Like, it made the rotation, only certain songs, but I'll definitely go back to this. I don't think it's whack, but I don't see what the hype and how everybody loves it. I don't know if it's going over my head. 3 out of 4 of us kind of feel some way in shape or form the same way about it. So I know I'm not the only one, but definitely check it out. Definitely support. At least go listen to it. Make your own decision whether you like it or not, but I'm definitely gonna be bumping it in the whip though.
I like Wiki's style. I like what he does with his voice. I even like the pitch of his voice and the way he uses his voice, and the way, like I said before, like he goes in and out of flows throughout the song. So it doesn't make for a boring listen, you know, as you listen to it, and you know, you're not really getting the same thing over and over again, you know, throughout it. I'm okay with the change ups on the records. I think that they were done in a way that I appreciated and that I like the transitions from one to the other. For what I've heard on this album, you know, I like it, man. I mess with it.
Appreciate these dudes' originality, but it's just not my cup of tea. Like I said, I picked up 3 songs out of this. Snow Beach, So It Goes, and Remove Ya. That's pretty much it. You know, Wiki, I think that's the standout guy of the group. You know, yeah, he's cool. It's just, yeah, it's just not my thing. I can't. It's too much going on. I can't give it this. I don't really care to listen to this again. But you know, go support them, check them out if you want to listen to it and enjoy it. But not for me.
I would much rather have music that's different that I don't care for than 35 rappers on the exact same that I don't care for. Again, it's not a bad album. It's not something I would say is whack. If it came on, I wouldn't be annoyed unless it's Puerto Rican Judo. It's one of those albums, again, I just say I could take it or leave it. It's not something that I would seek out, and it's definitely not something that I would shit on. So I won't probably be listening to this. Again, I would be interested in listening to a record after this though, just because I think they have a foundation to do something that I would personally care for. So I'm interested in seeing what they do next. But this one in particular is just not my cup of tea.